I'm going to talk about the production of a string quartet. So it'd be typical classical production. I've chosen strings because strings get used in popular music a lot. So it's good to have a knowledge of how string composition and string production would work. So to start off, what I've done is I picked a string quartet from iTunes, clicked it out, dragged it in, dropped it. Okay, and if I click in it, I can tidy it up by moving that about, tidy the start point up, and get the tempo if I want to. But I can use that as a guide. I can use it to A-B the levels, and to look for some inspiring sort of sounds and effects, compositional techniques. And then I've come down and I've set up a typical sonata form here. I've shortened it because the spec, okay, I wanted less than 4 minutes, so I've done it about 3.5 minutes there. I've shortened it a bit, and so I've got the first section, a tonic key, going to a dominant, moving through the keys in the development. Okay, then I've got the subdominant in section C, going to a tonic, and then in the coda, I'm in the tonic all the way through. Okay. And that's kind of going to be my guide to help the workflow. Right, and then what I've done is, as it's a string quartet, I'm going to have 2 first violins, 6 second violins, 4 violas and 4 cellos. That's going to be my arrangement. So I do my composition on one track, as so. If I click into it, I can see all the notes of everything building up. Okay, and I build it along. So I've got all my 4 instruments here set out in one track. Okay, then I've clicked on it, go into the hyper editor, and I want to put some expressions swells, which is like a volume in it. It's typical of what you would feel in with a violin playing or a string instrument playing, some swells. To do that, go into the hyper editor, double click, okay, and then go into number. I want it on number 11, so I've clicked it and I've gone on to number 11, ticked it, and of course it's a control change. So that's what I've got there, some nice little expression swells running all the way through. If I want to finish it off, okay, I get an idea what that sounds like. It down a bit if you like. That's a sort of adding a bit more feeling to the music. Okay, and then afterwards, I'd highlight those 4, press Alt, and I'd copy it down to each track. Okay, and then this is how I do it because I find it easier. Well, there is an option, a function you can do it with as well, but then I go into it and I would delete the different lines from each one, from each section. Okay, so I've got the first violins on their own, second violins on their own, viola on its own, and the cello line on its own on each track. Okay? Okay, moving forward. As you can see, I've had 2 first violins, so I've just copied the track down. There, I wanted 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 second violins. Okay, so I've just copied the 6 second violins, 4 violas, 4 cellos, as would be typical of a string quartet arrangement. Okay, and then if I go into the mixer page, I've color coded it to make it easier to see if I want to come back later. And if I go down to the mixer page, what I've done, okay, is sent them all onto bus 63. I could leave them as they are actually, but I tend to put them all on bus, put it easy, make it easier. And then if I look down here, number 63 there, everything's on that channel. Give it a bit of a play. As you can see, everything's on there now. And I could put the effects on there if I want to, but I've done them separately. So just a bit of panning, sent a bit of reverb to bus 1, and I've done the same on each instrument. Okay, like first violins, I've grouped them to one, set up a bit of reverb, a bit of EQ to give each one a bit of space in the mix, and a bit more panning with a different pan section. Okay, I'm giving each instrument section some space in the mix, EQ in it, so it's cutting through okay, and a little bit of reverb to give it presence. And I've done the same on all the other sections. Okay, for the reverb, there's a reverb on bus 1, Space Designer. If you look here, I've EQ'd the bass off, which I do on all the effects anyway. Coming back up into the main section, what I've done there, then highlighted the tracks, then I bounced them down using the bounce command here. There you go. As it's only a demo, I mean this would be only a demo track anyway, for me to play to the orchestra, the conductor, along with which I provide along with the score. I save this as a bounce, which is here. That's the bounce there. If I press Control, export as audio file, I'll save it as a wave, which I can then downgrade to an MP3 file if I need to. Okay, and then to actually print the score off, Logic is not great for score printing. I mean, you'd be much better using Sibelius, which is the industry standard. So I would export as a MIDI file, and then I would import it into Sibelius, where I would do the score editing, okay, tidy it up, add some ornaments, some tempo, some volume markings, and that sort of thing. And that's what I would provide for an orchestra, a string quartet, and a conductor, along with the MP3 or wave of the actual demo. Okay.